The definition of a recession, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters. The New Zealand Treasury has predicted that in a worst-case scenario, inflation will persist, interest rates will continue to be hiked, the GDP could decline for 5 consecutive quarters starting sometime in early 2023, and to top it all off, we may see a surge in unemployment. If this doesn't yell recession ahead, I'm not sure what will. Hello everyone, my name's Ryan, and today we're going to be looking into the possibility of a recession. I know those predictions make it sound like the economy is about to collapse and the world will end. However, that's all they are, predictions. So before you go and sell all your investments to buy gold, let's take a look at New Zealand and the world's current economic situation and where we may be headed. New Zealand was one of the few countries that have had a relative handle on the COVID-19 pandemic, but this did come at a cost, and that cost was our economy. The current inflation rate is 6.9%, which is a 35-year high since 1987. To combat this, the Reserve Bank has increased the official cash rate by 0.5, from 1 to 1.5. We haven't seen an increase this big since May of 2000. Generally, what happens when the OCR increases is the cost of money goes up, which means borrowing money becomes more expensive due to the commercial banks increasing the interest rates. When interest rates go up, individuals and businesses alike tend to borrow less money for large purchases such as property, vehicles, and more, ultimately resulting in the economy slowing down. The reason the Reserve Bank wants the economy to slow down is that it will often lead to a decline in inflation. The combination of high inflation and increased interest rates can very easily lead to a recession. However, those aren't the only potential causes. Let's take a quick look at the New Zealand GDP growth history and how it's currently tracking. Sadly, none of the 2022 GDP growth stats are currently available, but we can look at 2021 and previous years. The 2 most recent quarters with available information are the September 2021 quarter, which we saw a decrease of 3.6% in growth, and the December quarter, which we saw a positive gain of 3% in growth. This shows how we have been on the verge of recession, but have managed to avoid it for now. The Treasury has forecasted that in a best case scenario, between 2023 and the start of 2024, we will barely see any GDP growth, while in a worst case scenario, we could see up to 5 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, which could make for a rather long recession. However, it's not all doom and gloom. Surprisingly, the New Zealand economy is performing outstandingly in certain areas, specifically employment. The current unemployment rate is 3.2%, which frankly is the lowest it has been in decades. Going off of that factor alone, you'd most likely think the economy is in perfect working condition. But sadly, going into 2023 and 24, we could very well see an increase in the unemployment rate if a recession does occur. So currently in New Zealand, the inflation rate is at record highs, the GDP is expected to act poorly in coming years, but on the other hand, unemployment is at record lows. New Zealand's economy can often be impacted by other, much larger countries due to exports and imports. So let's review the likelihood of a recession in other countries like America. Currently, America's inflation rate is at 8.3%, while their GDP growth from the most recent quarter is down 1.4%. And if you have learnt anything from this video, it's probably that high inflation combined with negative GDP growth spells out recession. So if other massive countries, like America for example, aren't doing well, this isn't a positive sign for New Zealand. Personally, I have no idea if we're headed for a recession or if we are going to just miss it. However, I do believe that the facts I have presented would support claims of a potential recession. But don't take my word for it. I highly recommend you go out and do your own research. and then make your own informed decisions. Thank you all so much for watching. If this video can get 5 likes, I know it can be a big ask, but I think we can do it. I'll make a follow-up video about how to invest your money in this coming recession. Subscribe if you would like to see more content in the future. I hope you have an amazing day, and I wish you luck in your investing adventures. Bye bye!